Welcome. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the fundamentals of advertising on LinkedIn. Before we dive into the content, I wanted to share some housekeeping items to ensure that you have the best experience today. Firstly, if you are having trouble hearing the presenters, please ensure that your audio is at the maximum level. I also find using headphones helps improve the audio experience of the presenters. If you are having other technical issues, please enable Flash and try refreshing your screen or logging back in and out of On24. If you continue to experience problems, please send us a question in the Q&A portal. Something that I always forget to do, but if you log out of any VPN that you may be using, this also increases the stability of the webinar. This webinar is being recorded and it will be shared with you after the webinar within 48 hours. You'll find a number of resources in the additional resources tab on your screen. This also includes the slides for today's presentation and a few other resources that you may find useful. We'll share the slides and the recording within 48 hours. We would love to hear from you today. So if you have any questions, please submit them through the Q&A portal and our team will try and get back to you as quickly as we can. Please be patient as we do get a lot of questions during our broadcast. We'll also spend around 15 minutes at the end of the webinar going through some of the most common and frequently asked questions that we get regarding LinkedIn and advertising on LinkedIn. Finally, we want to know how this webinar was for you. So if you could please take 2 minutes to complete our feedback form and tell us what worked or perhaps what didn't work so well. And this really helps us improve any future sessions that we bring to our audiences. Firstly, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Mandy and I look after customer marketing for the Asia Pacific region. Today, we will have 2 presenters joining us. Firstly, we have Kritika joining from Singapore.
Hi there, my name is Kritika. I've been at LinkedIn for over 2 years now, and I work in the digital marketing team for LinkedIn Marketing Solutions. So you could think of me as an internal customer of our own product. My job involves defining our marketing strategy, running digital marketing campaigns across all of Asia Pacific, and reporting out on our performance to make sure that we're making the most of our investment.
And we also have Kay Axon, who is also joining us from Singapore.
Hi everyone, I'm Kai-Sing, Senior Client Solutions Manager from LinkedIn.
So, the purpose of today's webinar is to teach you the basics of advertising on LinkedIn so you can learn more about how you can target your target audience and how to amplify your brand and how to use LinkedIn Campaign Manager to build a successful campaign. So we have a lot to cover today, so let's get started. I'll hand over to you now, Kritika.
So now let's kick things off by learning a little more about LinkedIn and its environment. In all that we do here at LinkedIn, we are rooted by our vision and our mission. Our vision is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And our mission is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. In order for us to do that, we help businesses grow by leveraging the vast network that we have available on our platform. LinkedIn hosts the largest global community of professionals from senior level influencers to the mass affluent, allowing us to reach the entire buyer cycle. There are now over 706 million members on LinkedIn, and that number is just growing every day. As you can see, among these professionals on LinkedIn, there are senior influencers, C-level executives, decision makers from different fields, as well as opinion leaders. So now you may wonder how this sets LinkedIn apart from other social media platforms. Well, LinkedIn is a place you go to invest your time and to find new ways to achieve your ambitions. It is not a mindless scroll, it is an intentional one. And that intentional mindset is key. Last year, Interpret assembled data around different social platforms and a consumer's mindset for each. The research revealed that consumers consciously approach different platforms with very different mindsets. While Facebook and Twitter are more about being, platforms for passive entertainment, LinkedIn is much more purposeful, learning from experts, looking for opportunities, and managing lives better. And because of that intent, based on a Millward Brown study, audiences who are seeking to learn and get advice are 1.7 times more likely to be receptive to advertising. I encourage you to also consciously think about what you do on the different social media platforms and channels that you visit. Are you there to tag a friend in a meme? Or are you there to learn or improve yourself and your skills? Or are you there to watch a sporting event, for example? This will enable you to understand your different intents on different channels and how other consumers behave as well. The other thing is that trust and brand safety are incredibly important when it comes to advertising, especially when it comes to lead generation. If you're asking prospects to give you their information, you want it to be in a trustworthy environment. But it's incredible that we're not just seeing these positive signals in our performance numbers, but also in how you, our members, and our customers view us. Business Insider's Digital Trust Report surveyed over 1,300 customers to gauge their perceptions of digital trustworthiness among 6 major social platforms. LinkedIn ranked first overall 2 years in a row and ranked first in 5 out of the 6 categories. It just fell to second behind Facebook in volume of shares. But for us, it's about the quality of engagement in a quality work environment with a quality audience that matters. So it's okay if we don't always win with scale, as long as we win with quality. And perhaps because of our more intent-driven audiences and the trust in our platform, LinkedIn is seen as having a higher quality environment that is more brand safe. Our members bring their best selves to the platform and they ask fellow members to do the same. So now you know how our members engage on the platform. Let's talk a little more about how you can reach out to the members that matter to you. So let's now dive into how you can be successful organic. That is, yes, for free, before you add paid dollars. Key to building your organic presence on LinkedIn is to leverage your LinkedIn page well. We see LinkedIn customers gaining successful and consistent engagement when they post on their page at least once a day. Brands can share their story on their LinkedIn page by repurposing infographics, blog posts, videos, links to events, ebooks, and webinars. And you can be sure to regionalize your updates to receive maximum traction by using regional admins for the various posts. All of this activity helps you not only just publish and share content, but also promote your brand and as a consequence, attract followers. Now, what does a fully optimized page look like? First, it must have the basics: a logo, tagline, description, industry, company size, location, and a website URL. Pages that engage their users, as mentioned earlier, post at least once every 30 days, and they need to build a following of 150 to be considered a quality page by LinkedIn. While posting via your LinkedIn page, remember that visual is the new headline, links drive engagement, and most importantly, know your audience when you're posting. So how can you get to know your audience better? In order to know and grow your audience, it's important that you find the right content and topics that matter to them. So the new content suggestions feature will help you with this. It helps you see which content and topics your audience is engaging with across LinkedIn, and it helps you refine these insights by job function, industry, and seniority so that you can develop nuanced content strategies for all the people who matter. Content insights give you the opportunity to share already trending articles or to create your own content to align with your target audience's interests. Or maybe you can do a bit of both. Contributing to active conversations with relevant hashtags on LinkedIn is another effective way of joining conversations that matter. And with the new LinkedIn pages, visitors to your page can see which hashtags you've included in your company updates and click on those hashtags to learn more. Our recommendations for when you use hashtags is to include it in the copy and to be thoughtful about how you include it. Use only 2 or 3 and be consistent about using them over time. Remember, this is not about hashtag Throwback Thursday. You want people to associate your brand with that hashtag. For example, at LinkedIn, we use hashtag LinkedIn Live for everything that we do internally, and we use hashtag init together when we talk about something to do with our customers. So contributing to active conversations with relevant hashtags is hugely important. Finally, I highly recommend that you check out your page analytics. Data and insights are key to knowing and growing your audience and your community on LinkedIn. The redesigned Analytics tab makes it easier to understand the people visiting your page, the content that is receiving the most engagement as well. From this tab, you can monitor page activity and engagement, see performance over custom date ranges, and access easy to follow demographic charts. You can see the professional traits of your followers and visitors and evaluate the effectiveness of the updates posted to your page. There's a wealth of unique information that can be found here. You can track visitor, follower, and content performance and break down the top performing visitor segments by industry, company size, location, and function. There's also a really cool view within follower analytics called Companies to Track, where you can see how your page is performing relative to other pages on LinkedIn. I encourage you to check that out. So now that we've shared tips with you on how to best leverage your LinkedIn page and reach out to your company followers with organic updates, we're going to delve into how you can get your updates in front of more people beyond your LinkedIn page follower base. And to do that, it's best that we explore the various audience options that LinkedIn has to offer. We'll now move on to the next section around targeting on LinkedIn. Let's talk about how targeting on LinkedIn works. When you fill out your profile, you contribute first-party data to LinkedIn. Based off of your LinkedIn profile, we're able to identify what your attributes are. For example, the company name, company connections, company followers, etc. Outside of first-party data, we also have the ability to use derived data such as job function, job seniority, or member age. For example, your job function is derived from your job title. Your years of experience are derived from your start year and current month of the role, and member gender is derived from member name. These form our core targeting attributes available on the Campaign Manager dashboard. You can also start to layer on behavioral type data, such as interest targeting, where we can see what members are reading, watching, and reacting to, so that gives you an opportunity to target them based on these interests. We often don't recommend using gender targeting because it's very easy to misinterpret somebody's gender based on their name, and that ends up making your campaign not as inclusive as it should be. Now, you can start thinking about further expanding your audience by also using lookalike audiences. This helps you deliver your content to members who are similar to your target audience in their demographics and interests, and it increases the scale and reach of your campaign by delivering your ad to additional members who may be interested in your content. If you're just getting started with advertising, we recommend testing out the colored facets first, such as company industry, job title, job function, seniority, and member skills. Screenshot this so that you can keep it in your arsenal so you can use it later. Now, when members update their LinkedIn profile with a new role, these job titles are grouped by LinkedIn's algorithms, and they're organized into standardized titles that you can use for your campaign targeting. And these standardized titles are also mapped to a level of seniority and a function. For example, Jane Sim would have a seniority of manager and a function of marketing. So this allows you to target your campaigns by job title, job function, or job seniority. In most cases, it'll be more efficient for you to target by job function. These are broad groupings of titles based on the kind of work that a member specializes in. Instead of having to target every single marketing job out there, you can simplify and choose the function of marketing and just be done with it. This will also improve the scale and reach of your campaign. Skills are highly relevant keywords found on a member's profile, and they indicate expertise in those particular areas. Skills targeting is an alternate way to reach professionals with a specialized expertise when job title targeting may not be as effective. For example, if you're looking to reach members with a project management software advertisement, job titles may not be as effective, given several roles require project management, including my role as a digital marketing manager. But I'm not interested in a project management software. So this is where skills targeting allows you to target specific competencies that may span a broad range of job titles. When using skills targeting, consider pairing this with the function or seniority facet. This helps to focus the reach of your audience the reach of your offer to a very, very specific audience. Now, company name is the organization that a member lists as his or her employer. These are based on LinkedIn pages, which are maintained by company employees, as we are all aware. Whether your campaign goal is awareness or retention, company name targeting allows you to focus your campaign on high-value accounts and reach decision makers across an organization. Company industry is a company's primary industry of operation. An organization may operate across several industries, but only the primary industry is listed on their LinkedIn page and will be recognized. Industry targeting allows you to narrow in on members who work in a particular sector. This is particularly effective if your offer is broadly applicable across an entire industry. For example, a piece of software that's geared towards the entire internet industry. Company size is one of the facets where excluding criteria works pretty well. For example, a startup that's making accounting software designed specifically with small and medium businesses in mind can exclude company sizes of 501 to 10,000 and above from their targeting. This ensures that members who are on LinkedIn and work for an organization that has yet to create a company page are captured. Moving on now to LinkedIn matched audiences. What are LinkedIn matched audiences? Matched audiences is the set of targeting capabilities that gives you the unique ability to combine LinkedIn's powerful professional data with your own first-party data. It allows you to do a number of things such as engage your key accounts, prospects, and other audiences that matter most to your business with the following capabilities: website retargeting, account targeting, contact targeting, and lookalike audiences. Targeting your website visitors with LinkedIn ad campaigns by adding the LinkedIn Insight tag to your web pages, such as your homepage or Contact Us page, is what website retargeting is all about. You can create audiences based on the pages they visit on your website and recapture your visitors' interest with content that's relevant to the pages that they viewed. Moving on now to contact targeting. This allows you to build a customized audience by connecting your contact management platform or securely uploading a list of email addresses. You can also use this feature to exclude a list of customers, for example, from your campaign. At this time, LinkedIn supports data integrations with Marketo, Eloqua, LiveRamp, Salesforce, Pegasystems, and Microsoft Dynamics. And new partners are also added frequently. Alternatively, you can upload a CSV file with a list of email addresses directly into Campaign Manager. The maximum number of email addresses is 20,000 per CSV file. With account targeting now, you can run account-based marketing ABM campaigns by matching your target companies against the 8 million plus LinkedIn pages. Combined with LinkedIn's demographic targeting, account targeting allows you to guide decision makers along their buyer's journey and ultimately drive sales and qualified leads. When you already have a high-performing audience, either from people visiting your website, people who provided you with their email addresses, or a tailored account list, lookalike audiences can help you find more people who look exactly like these individuals or companies. Remember that this is different from audience expansion, where you are using profile-based demographic targeting, and audience expansion helps reach similar audiences to your selected options. So, combining the powers of LinkedIn's various targeting facets and matched audiences allows you to maximize your ROI by leveraging our data along with customer data. With LinkedIn's matched audience feature, you can also onboard other data to use for targeting on the platform. While you can also target these lists with manual CSV uploads, our integration partners give you the ability to stream audiences to LinkedIn so that your segments are staying fresh and up to date. The use cases our partners support include first-party data, where you can onboard your customer data to LinkedIn to target your existing customers or people in your pipeline. You can also use this to suppress any customer lists, and it gives you the option of making sure you're not spending ad dollars on existing customers. A few of our partners include Salesforce, Eloqua, Marketo, and Zapier. Third-party data. In the rare occasion you can't find the target audience you need on LinkedIn natively, a couple of our partners like Axiom and LiveRamp can provide third-party segments that are easily passed on to CMT and can be layered with all the usual LinkedIn targeting features like geography, job function, and seniority. Account-based marketing or ABM. More and more marketers are adopting ABM strategies. These companies that are listed here can help you create a target account list or enhance an existing target account lists with things like intent data. Now, what are some of the best practices that you can arm yourself with after having gone through all that there is on LinkedIn targeting? First, you're almost guaranteed to see poor campaign performance if you use just one campaign to target professionals in different countries, from different industries and unrelated functions, and with drastically different mindsets and content needs. So don't dump all your buyer personas into one campaign. If your target audiences are all lumped together, you'll have trouble personalizing your content for each stakeholder group. Instead, make sure that your buyer personas are clear and well-defined, and break out key personas separate them into different campaigns, and group together the criteria that make sense, including related industries, geographies, or job functions. This enables you to deliver the right message to the right subset of LinkedIn members. Similarly, don't use the same content and targeting tactics regardless of the product. Don't send a CXO level message to a senior IC and vice versa. Rather, you want to tailor your content to the right audience so that it resonates better with them. Next, don't hyper-target your campaigns. It's tempting, especially now that you've learned about many of LinkedIn's features, to use every targeting feature possible. However, limited scale will hurt your campaigns. So start broad for your first campaigns and see who's responding best to your offer before narrowing the audience down. We recommend launching campaigns with 4+ targeting facets. If you're just getting started, then the recommend starters are company size, industry, title, seniority, job function, skills, and matched audiences. We find that these facets will give you greater scale, while age, gender, and profile location can make it tough to get scale on your campaign. Things like age and gender are typically inferred from your profile and, as mentioned previously, are not ideal to use as your targeting criteria. Finally, finding your targeting sweet spot requires an experimental mindset. So once you've set a campaign live and you begin to see results, optimize your targeting to make sure that you're reaching your audience most effectively. Change only a few criteria at a time to isolate what part of your test impacted your campaign's performance, and try testing skills versus job titles, industry versus function. Keep refining the tests that you do over time, and you'll find that the audience responds best to your content when you do so. This is something that I use myself when I use LinkedIn for my marketing campaigns. I cannot stress enough the importance of A/B testing. Not just the various targeting facets available, but creatives as well. And with that, I will now hand you over to Kai-Shing, who will take you through the next half of our presentation. Kai-Shing, over to you.
Thank you, Kritika. We have first touched on the B2B landscape and LinkedIn's role in B2B environment. Moving to how companies can leverage on LinkedIn to build their presence on this ecosystem, I'll be covering on how we can amplify the voice to reach your members and build a successful campaign on LinkedIn. To close off the loop, we will look into optimization to maximize your ROI. Campaign planning is the most essential element in a successful campaign, and the first step in campaign planning will be identify your objectives and your success metrics. Let us quickly take a look at the objectives that is available and how we can align these objectives to meet your business goals. The marketing funnel is split into various stages, starting off with awareness, getting members to know your brand, moving down to the funnel, and of course, close off with the conversions, where we will drive members to know about your product offering, nurture them, and convert them into an opportunity. One of the most common questions that we get is, how would the ad formats be used and align with the targeting? So this slide summarizes the ad formats that we are able to meet various objectives. And in the next section, we will take you through the various ad formats and how you can use this for your campaign. We have created this cheat sheet for you so you can align. So for example, if you are doing a lead gen campaign, you won't have the option of running a text ads. Starting off with our sponsored content, which is the hero ad format, and this comes in 3 different versions. We start off with the image first. So these ad formats appear in both mobile and desktop, and it leverages on LinkedIn's first-party data to identify your target audience. So a few quick content tips to highlight. You need to create in mobile-friendly environment. So having text in images, do note that if the text is too small, it might not be visible on small screens. And for text, we'll recommend to be less than 150 characters in the intro text. And of course, we will recommend 3 to 4 different variations to allow different optimization capabilities. You don't have to create new images all the time. It can just be the same image, but with a different intro text. The second ad format that we have using the same space is video. With the same format, you can captivate the professional audience with a native video at every stage of the user journey. And it's on autoplay, on mute. It can be bought on 3 different bit types: CPM, CPC, and CPV. This ad format allows you to generate leads as well. And if you are looking at viewability metrics, you can also use mode for integration. We do understand that you need the additional space to showcase multiple offerings or deep dive into a certain topic. Carousel ad will be the best format to illustrate a compelling story. So a few tips and tricks: you can have 2 to 5 cards and test out different cards orientation to maximize the performance. And of course, one common issues that we do have is that there is not enough content. You don't have enough bandwidth to produce the content. So what we recommend is to use the hero content that you already have, break down into different parts, and to produce different cards. And of course, you can use it with lead generation as well. There are a few more ad formats that I would like to introduce. So do note that the next 2 formats, which is text ad and dynamic ads, it can only be used on the desktop environment, and it can be bought based on a CPC and a CPM point of view. If you want a slightly more personalized experience, you can leverage on dynamic ads, which you can pull your profile images and you can call out your audiences based on their first name and last name to create a personal experience. This format has a facelift last year. We have white paper ads, follower ads, which is a great ad format to start off to gain followers for your company page. If you want to drive opportunities within your email that is already existing, we will recommend to have sponsored ad format. And this ad format only sends email if you are logged in, and it sends off in a frequency cap of 1 per 30 days. So meaning to say that there is a lot of bandwidth that you can leverage with a personalized and tailored messaging for your members and convert these opportunities or conversations into your business objectives and leads. And in this case, you can also layer on with our lead generation form to drive a lead gen campaign as well. And I'm proud to say that our message ads is not the only format that we have. Early this year, we rolled out another ad format which is the conversation ads. The difference between the 2 ads is that message ads allow you to send direct message to your prospect and spark an immediate action that you're able to deliver in a single CTA. We find that this ad format delivers stronger engagement and than traditional emails. And of course, it's delivered in an uncluttered manner. For conversation ads, it allows you to build or choose your own path experience or customized path experience, and it allows you to have multiple call to action button that access within the content. So you are able to drive quality leads by asking qualifying questions and of course including a lead gen form as well. You can also have the breakdown click showing when the drop-off point is and optimize and nurture your clients from there. Using all these ad formats, you can design content for different funnel. These are the recommended content that we will recommend you to start with. Having the reach or awareness, having at 60%. If you want to move down your funnel, it can be at 30%. And of course, if you want to acquire leads, it can be 10%. There is no hard and fast rule, but we always recommend to A/B test to identify which content works best. Once the planning stage is done, we will need to move on to the campaign execution stage, and this is where the exciting part comes in. And before you set up the campaigns, we need to get the access right. So there are 2 access points that you need to have in order to kickstart a campaign. First, access right will be the company page, whereby you need to have at least an admin access or a direct sponsored content posters access in order for you to create content on the paid media portion. Once you have this access, the second access that you need is from the campaign manager tool or the business account, whereby you need to have account manager access or campaign manager access in order for you to create content and of course to create the targeting. In order for you to set up an account, you need the company page and the URL. You need to input the credit card details to kickstart a campaign. And last of all, the context whereby you need to have the access with. In the next section, we will move on to start the live demo. Once you are at Campaign Manager, click on Create Account. You will be reaching this stage whereby you can input all the parameters, which includes the account name, currency. Do note that the currency will not be able to change once the account is created. And of course, the company page URL that is associated for this account itself. So once you have created an account, there will be 4 various tabs for you to set up your campaign. So for example, in the previous section, we are at the Accounts tab, and there will be a Campaign Groups tab, Campaigns, and Ads tab. Click on Create Campaign Group. This is a subfolder that allows you to classify various business units. For example, if you are running campaign for security or running campaigns for cloud, you can classify all campaigns together in this group. Or if you are running different markets, you can also classify them into various groups for you to easier navigate throughout the entire campaign space. The only parameter that you need to put in will be the campaign group and of course the start date. For end date and budgets, it can be set on the campaign level. So once this is created, click on Create Campaign. The first tabs that you will be seeing is to input the various objectives. I will do a quick recap on the objectives that we have. For awareness, it's based on the CPM buy. It allows you to reach as many audience as possible. If you are looking into the middle or a later funnel stage, you can start off with website visits, whereby you can run all 3 ad formats, video, carousel, and image using this ad objectives itself. And you can buy based on CPC or CPM buying model. If you are running for follower ads, engagement will be the KPI to go. And if you are looking for video, buying the CPV model, that's where you leverage on video views. If you are looking to generate leads, you can either use a lead generation form and of course a website visit conversion KPI. In this campaign, we will be using a website visit to start off, and it's the most versatile objectives. These objectives can be used for any of the marketing funnel that you are looking at, including conversions. If this is your first few campaigns, you're not sure what to begin with, you can always leverage on this template whereby there is a list of target audience that is available for you to leverage on. So for example, financial advisor or even like IT professionals, and it's all already custom made for your reference and for you to begin with. The first step to input your audiences will be identify the geography that you are looking to target. So if you are targeting more than one country, click on the pencil button and input the other countries that you are targeting. If you are looking to exclude your audiences, you can do so using the exclude function. Once you have identified the location, you can move on to the various target options right here. So with using the templates, the audiences are already inbuilt for you. You can just make changes to it, which is a lot easier for you to build and run your campaign. A few quick tips for audience targeting is that we will recommend you to include the senior targeting in this seniority function itself. Reason being that seniorities are the ones that builds out or do the groundwork for any of the campaign itself. Or I should say, these are the group of audience that will influence the decision making. Once this is done, you will notice that all the audience size will be highlighted on this right hand side. So it will give you a gauge on how big the audience size is. And of course, in the later section, I'll talk about the bids and budgets, whereby you can identify the max cost or the portion that you are able to spend. If you are looking into narrowing your audience, you can do so by either excluding your audiences, for example, people who has already followed your company pages, and of course a competitor. If you want to look into a specific audience, for example, companies' names, or even a contact list, you can upload your own audiences onto the platform. Click on Audiences. Under List Upload, you'll be able to do so by uploading a CSV on the platform, do note that the platform takes 2 to 4 days to populate this data. There are a few more options that we will recommend you to uncheck. So first of all will be enable audience expansion. If you have a target audience in mind and you are not looking forward to expand this, we will recommend to uncheck this. For ad formats, we will there is only one ad format for one campaign, meaning to say that if you are running a video campaign or a carousel campaign concurrently, it needs to set up with 2 different campaigns. This might be your first campaign to start off on LinkedIn. We will recommend to use LinkedIn inventory first. We will recommend to uncheck this for now. Once you have leveraged or enough data on LinkedIn, you want to explore other platforms or partners, please feel free to do so. In the next section, we'll talk about bids and budgets. So we will recommend to always have the total budget set up, simply because with the total budget, it becomes a gatekeeper for you not to overrun your budgets. Having a daily budget allows you to have an even pacing throughout the campaign. So you just have to divide the daily budget based on your total budget itself. And this is where you can set an end date for your campaign. If this is an always-on campaign, you don't have to do so. But of course, if this is a campaign running for a period of time, you have to set off the end date with this option here. Before we move on to the creatives, there is the bid type for you to select. And do note that for audience, bid types, budgets, and dates, they are not set in stone. You can change it at any point of time. The only objectives are that you cannot change it. Once you select the objective, you cannot change it. If you want to change your objectives, you need to create a campaign. So do note that for automated bidding is based on CPM, but it's automated on the platform. You don't have to make changes to the bids itself. But if you are a bit more price sensitive and you want to look into control in a CPC buying model, we will recommend to use either a target CPC bid or an enhanced CPC bid based on your campaign objectives. Do note that our platform is based on the second price option, meaning to say that the price that you set up will not be the final price that you bid. So for example, today I'm bidding at 10, but Kritika is bidding at 6. I'll be winning the bid, but the price that I'll be paying is only $6.01, 1 cent higher based on the second price option. Let me quickly move on to the content, which is the last step in setting up your campaign. So for creating campaign itself, you can either leverage on the existing content that is available on your company page. So you can click Browse Existing Content to select on the campaign of the content that is already available on the platform itself. And of course, you click on Sponsor and you are done with creating the content. But if you want to create a post on your end and you don't want to clutter your company pages, click on Create New Ad itself. So there are a few tips and tricks that I will recommend in this case. First of all, it will be the naming convention. Having a naming convention allows you to identify which content that works well if you have a creative variation. I stress the importance of mobile friendly simply because if it's built on a smaller screen, it needs to have a cohesive experience between desktop and mobile. So for intro text, I would recommend to have less than 150 characters to have a mobile-friendly environment. And once you create all these parameters, it will be populated live on the preview option. The next option will be putting in a destination URL. And of course, you can always put in the UTM parameters that you're using it with the other platforms. So once you put in the destination URL, you can either scrape it to use the images that is available on the URL. If not, you can upload with an image of your choice. Do note that our image itself, it's a dimension of 1200 by 627. Once you upload this, input a headline. Again, we stress the importance of mobile friendly. It will be less than 70 characters for a mobile friendly environment. If you are not running based on audience network, you don't have to input this at all because this is only made for audience network inventory. Select a call to action that suits best for the content. If it's a white paper, click on download. If it's learn more, or to understand more of the products. And of course, if you want to use a webinar, it can be sign up or register. After this is done, just click on create and you're done. Basically, you have created or set up your first campaign. The next few steps will be just to review once everything is done, and of course click the launch button for you to live the campaign. But if you want to make any changes, before you live your campaign, click on these three dots whereby you can either edit your content or you can even preview it. Now that we have learned to set up a campaign, in the next few sections, we will look into ways that we can maximize your ROI. So first of all, there are a few metrics that is available on the dashboard for you to look into your campaign performance. So for performance metrics like impression, clicks, CTR, social actions, and of course the CPC, they are all made available on the platform. If you want to look into your demographics or data, there are breakdowns for job title, industry, seniority function, company size, location, and even country. And all these targeting are available on the platform for you to optimize and adjust your target audience. If you want to download these reports, you can download based on campaign performance report or ad performance report. And of course, demographics report can be downloaded as well. In order for you to maximize your ROI, we will recommend for you to put in a conversion tracking to track performance, to understand your audience, and of course to maximize the results that you are getting from LinkedIn itself. So what are the tips and tricks that you can use to optimize or increase your ROI for your campaign? So let us go back to the basics, and there are three main levers to set up the campaign, and these are the same three levers for optimization, which is as simple as audience, bids and budgets, and content. So let us take a look at two different scenarios. The first scenario would be you are seeing a high engagement or CTR, but you are not seeing conversions on your website. So first of all, we will recommend to look into the demographics or your target audience itself. So after you have been running the campaign for about 1 or 2 weeks, click on the demographics tab to understand the audience that are most engaged. And you can use this click demographics data either by removing the audience that is not performing, or you can add on new segments to target or to engage those audience who has shown interest in your campaign. So these are not the only strategies that you can use. You can always put in a conversion tracking to track conversions and of course to optimize better. I would strongly recommend to check on your pages, especially on mobile platforms, to make sure that it's mobile optimized. And of course, leverage on other ad formats such as lead generation form or emails or other ad formats that we have on the platform. Second scenario, your campaigns have trouble scaling despite the fact that it's large audiences, which is about 200K. Just a quick recap, we recommend to have at least a 50K or 100K audiences to start with, and it depends on your geography that you're targeting. And the reason for having a wider audiences is allow you to have enough bandwidth to scale and run and look for opportunities that you might not even consider. So there are two ways to review. And first of all is to review your bids. When we start a campaign, we will recommend to have at least 10 to 20% higher than the suggested bid range. Simply because the campaign might be brand new, you will need a lot of data in order to optimize. And of course, you just need the additional bandwidth to secure an auction on a platform. And of course, you can consider switching around the various bid options. For example, automated bidding, or you can switch over from a CPC to a CPM and vice versa. Once you have reviewed the bids, you will need to review on the content to ensure that the content are engaging with your target audience itself. So setting of competitive bids will be one of the key main levers for you to win an auction, and of course for you to secure or more data for your target audience. Once you secure the bids and budgets, you will need to have relevant content that aligns from the objectives to the target audience itself. So looking into ways that you can reduce the cost, it will be having relevant content, or I should say having content that brings value to the member. And there are 3 quick tips that you can use to engage your members itself. So first of all, invest in great images. It's not just image alone. It can be for carousel. It can be for video. So images are processed a lot faster than words. And do note that the space that this image occupies within a sponsored feed itself. Having great images allows you allows the image to be stand out from the feed, and members will be able to engage better with great images. So the quick way to have great images is to align the image together with the text that you're trying to drive at. The next tip will be having a clear call to action, and don't bury it too much text within the entire piece of content. So do note that having smaller screens, small text within the images might not be visible, and do take note of the experience that they are having on mobile. Having a clear call to action creates an urgency and creates an expectation that the members need to take for their next step. Last of all, you need to ask questions, make statements, or use interesting facts to bring value to the member, and the member will know that this piece of content is great, is valuable for them. And we see that most content that has great asking questions statement, it increases CTRs. Thank you so much for your time, and we do look forward for your next session.
Thank you so much to our presenters for guiding us today through the fundamentals of advertising on LinkedIn. I really do hope our audience learned a lot about how to build a successful campaign and how to reach your audience through LinkedIn's targeting capabilities. For those that have more time, we're going to spend around the next 15 minutes going through some of the most frequently asked and common questions that we get when people are starting to build campaigns on LinkedIn. So I'll be talking you through some of the questions that have come through, and we'll also have a team of LinkedIn experts ready to answer any specific questions through your Q&A portal. So feel free to enter any of those questions now. Firstly, I'd like to remind you to please complete the feedback form, as this really helps us to build more and more engaging webinars and helps us improve these sessions. So firstly, what is LinkedIn Campaign Manager? So we talk about LinkedIn Campaign Manager all the time, but what is it? Campaign Manager is a tool. It's a centralized hub for creating all of your LinkedIn campaigns. In Campaign Manager, you can set up campaigns, create lead generation forms, load any lists, so for any ABM targeting that you have, and then you'll also have the ability to measure your campaigns through Campaign Manager. You'll be able to look at your conversion tracking, website demographics. So really, this is the centralized hub for any campaign that you're building. So the next question is, how do I promote my content on my LinkedIn page without spamming my followers? So there's 2 ways that you can sponsor content. Firstly, you can go onto your LinkedIn company page. You can see what pieces of content are performing really well, and then you'll see this highest performing piece of content, and you can sponsor that, and you'll be taken to LinkedIn Campaign Manager to help promote and put some budget towards that. There's another way, though, that you can promote content, and it's called direct sponsored content. Some of you may be more familiar with the term dark posting, and what this means is you can avoid spamming your followers, so your followers won't see these posts, and you can just promote to the target audience. So if you're looking to reach marketing professionals or IT decision makers, you can only have these posts shown to those people. So the way to do that is you jump into Campaign Manager, and you can build out your content through Campaign Manager. Firstly, you'll need to get an admin of your company page to give you sponsored content access. So the instructions for that is in the Help Center, or you can also find it in the additional resources. A question that we get all the time is, I'd like to pay via monthly invoicing, but when I'm in Campaign Manager, I can only see a credit card payment. So there is a way to pay via monthly invoicing. And what I've done is I've included the form for monthly invoicing in the additional resources. You can fill that out and have direct contact with our finance team to start the process to start monthly invoicing. So one of the most frequently asked questions that we get is, why is my CPC and why are my bid ranges so high? So you'll notice when you jump into LinkedIn Campaign Manager that the tool provides you a bid suggestion based on your target audience and the amount of time that you've set to let the campaign run. And this really helps to ensure that you're bidding competitively to make sure that you're winning the auction against the competitors that are also trying to reach whatever target audience you've chosen. In our auction, we actually run on a second price auction. So if you win, you'll only pay the minimum amount necessary based on what other advertisers are bidding in the same auction. If your campaign continues to have a strong CTR and high performing pieces of content, your relevancy score actually builds. And what the LinkedIn Campaign Manager does and the algorithm behind Campaign Manager, it actually rewards advertisers that have strong performing content with lower CPCs. And it actually rewards you with more impressions or more clicks. So you will see that although you may start out bidding quite high, over time that CPC and CPM should reduce if you've got engaging content. So that's another reason to really make sure that your content is as high performing as possible with great imagery and text. Another question that we get quite frequently is, how can I improve the performance of my campaign? The campaign isn't performing as well as you had expected. So firstly, I would take a look at the content that you are running, because more often than not, it's something to do with the content. Is it engaging enough? Does it have a strong call to action? So some of the things that we would look at as an account manager for your campaign is, what action are you hoping the reader of your content will take after they see your piece of content? And what I mean by this is, make sure that you've got a really clear call to action at the end of your content. So do you want them to register? Do you want them to watch a video? Do you want them to learn more? Be very specific with what action you want them to take. If you want them to register, call that out. At the end of your content, register now. Don't miss out. Find out more. Learn more. These are all call to actions that work really well, and I would recommend including one of them at the end of each piece of content that you write. Also, asking engaging questions. So trying to spark a thought or an idea or a conversation with your audience. So, did you know? How do you? Are questions or frameworks that work really well. So how can you position your content in a way that engages that question process? With regards to imagery, you can use bright, eye-catching images. Try and avoid using stock images. This is something that we see on LinkedIn all the time, but if you can include images that are bright in color, have unusual or unexpected imagery with real people, that really catches the eye and makes people stop just their endless scroll and pay attention to what your brand has to say and what your brand has to offer. Something else I also recommend is making sure that your content is under 100 characters. So after 100 characters, your content will be truncated. So that means only some part of your update will be seen. So the reader's more likely just to keep on scrolling. I'd recommend, as hard as it is, to try and keep that text under 100 characters. If you implement these 3 or 4 suggestions, you should see a lift in the performance of the campaign. We get a lot of questions about our LinkedIn Insights tag, and that's because it's such a powerful tool. It really should form the basis of any marketing campaign. So the best way to power up your marketing is by dropping the LinkedIn Insight tag on your website. It's a short snippet of code that you can just drop in the footer. If you have a web developer, they'll be able to do that for you, or you can go into Google Tag Manager and also implement the snippet of code. I've included a link in the additional resources with some more information about this. But basically, once you drop this piece of code on your website, it helps you to optimize your campaigns, retarget your website visitors, and learn more about the demographics of your website audience. So for Google Analytics, you might be looking at things like bounce rate or time spent on the page. The difference between that and LinkedIn Insight tag is we put your website audience through the LinkedIn lens. So we'll be providing you with the demographic data, so seniority, industry, and company size, etc., of who's coming to your website. You can find the Insight tag by going to Campaign Manager, and under Account Assets, you'll find the LinkedIn Insights tag and the instructions on how to place the tag on your website. The tag activation takes around 24 hours, and once it's activated, you'll be able to see all this goodness in Campaign Manager. The best part about this tool is it's free, so you can implement it now and really start learning more about your website audience. So a lot of people come to LinkedIn to generate leads. It's a huge question that we get is what are the benefits of using LinkedIn lead generation forms? And firstly, I'd like to mention that we do have a webinar on using LinkedIn for lead generation. You can find that in our webinar hub, which I'll be sending out the link for. But LinkedIn lead generation forms are a great and easy way to generate a high volume of qualified leads in just a couple of clicks. So by activating LinkedIn lead generation forms on your content, it allows you to collect leads for your business through our LinkedIn platform. So it's a very easy experience. Once one of our members sees your content, if they're interested, they can send you through their details with pre-populated fields directly from their profile. And it typically outperforms landing page conversions as it's a very simple process. So if you think of your landing page, someone has to click on the content, they go to the landing page, they then manually fill out their details and submit their form. So that whole process is shortened. So now it's all done within the app and it's pre-populated. So you will see higher conversion rates. And on the business side, you can easily download the leads directly from Campaign Manager, or you can sync it directly to your CRM and pass the leads automatically to your marketing platform of choice. Another question that we always get is how many ads should I have live? For any campaigns that we run here at LinkedIn, we always try and have 4 to 5 ads live or variations of the ad live at any given time, as this helps with the reach and frequency that you get on the platform. We have strict frequency caps as we're a members first platform. You can't see more than one piece of content in a specific amount of time. So if you have a few different variations, the system has more opportunities to present that content to our members. It also helps you experiment with the different call to actions that I mentioned previously, or images to see what your audience likes best. And then you can optimize and build out more engaging content as you go. Just a reminder to please keep your questions coming in. We do have a team of LinkedIn experts on hand to take your questions directly through the Q&A portal. I'll spend a little bit more time going through a couple of general questions that we're most commonly asked, and then we'll wrap up for the day. So another question that we get is, I'm interested in learning more about advertising on LinkedIn. Do you have a certification program, or where can we learn more about advertising on LinkedIn? So I'm really excited to say that we do have a certification program at the moment in beta. It is due to be launched in early next year, and that will be able to provide you with some more information about how to run campaigns successfully on LinkedIn. In the meantime, we also run webinars fortnightly, and you can look at our schedule at the APAC Webinar Hub. The link is in the additional resources. We cover topics just like this one, the fundamentals, lead generation, sponsored messaging, brand and demand, how to run brand and demand campaigns more successfully. So please do register for any sessions that you may find useful. This is the last question for the day, but please continue to send through your questions in the portal until we wrap up. Do you have case studies where I can learn more about what advertisers in my industries are doing with LinkedIn campaigns? Now, we have a lot of case studies. You can find this in our LinkedIn Marketing Solutions Success Hub. Our Success Hub is really a portal or a hub, just like its name is called, and it really hosts all of the information that you need to get started on LinkedIn ads. So we also have a whole range of case studies from local Asia Pacific companies and a broad range of industries as well. So the link can be found in your additional resources now. I hope you enjoyed today's session. If you could please take 2 minutes to answer our feedback form to help us improve future sessions. But I hope that you've learned a lot about LinkedIn advertising, and I hope to see you at another webinar again soon. Thank you.